Good morning, members of the Committee of General Affairs, members of Parliament, support staff, radio listeners, TV viewers, those following via social media, and members of the media. Welcome to this Committee of General Affairs meeting number 2 for today, Friday, November 7th, 2025. I would like to give a special welcome to the Honorable Prime Minister of St. Martin and Minister of General Affairs, Dr. Luc Mercelina, and his respective support staff. We have established a quorum of 5 members. Please stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. I have not received any notice of absence, nor have I have received a notice of absence from MP Ludmila de Riva. I have not received any notice of lateness. Are there any other notifications? Does any MP wish? I see MP La Cruz. MP La Cruz, you have the floor.
A blessed morning, Mr. Chairman, Griffier, Prime Minister and his support staff, my fellow colleagues and those in the Tribune. Mr. Chairman, notice of lateness from MP Otley.
Thank you. That has been noted, but I also would like to ask if that could formally be sent in as well. MP Veronica Janssen-Webster, you have the floor.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to my colleagues and our guests visiting us. I just have one notification of something that I noticed yesterday. I think we received the invitation for St. Martin's Day. And as a country with a constitution that states that we recognize the guiding principles of Almighty God as the core of our values, I noticed that this year we are not going to church to bless our nation on our National Day. And together with some people who have called me and asked about it, I just wanted to mention that I have noticed that we do not have a church service this year for St. Martin's Day. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Veronica Janssen-Webster, for your notifications. Is there any other MP? I see MP Wescot-Williams would like to have the floor. MP Wescot-Williams, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think that my batteries or my phone is in yet, so I'm getting cranked up. Thank you, and the red light is on, so thank you, MP. I'm always there to help.
Yes, I see it's blinking, so there's progress. Yes, MP Wescot-Williams, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And a good morning to my colleagues, a good morning to the Prime Minister and his support staff. Mr. Chairman, I just want to join my colleague Janssen-Webster in the observation that she made with respect to a church service for or on St. Martin Day and the conclusion that that is not happening this year. I too have received questions as to why not. And if that can be, explained, then at least the people will get an answer to that question. It is really something living out there, I must say. So I just echo the sentiments of my colleague, as I mentioned before. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Wescot-Williams. At this time, I do not see any other MP wishing to have the floor for notifications. So we go over to the agenda point for today. On April 22nd, 2025, Parliament received a letter from MP Wescot-Williams requesting for a meeting of the Committee of General Affairs to receive clear updates from the government on the progress of reforms in St. Martin. The member suggested inviting the relevant ministers or designated civil servants to explain Parliament via the committee the progress on important topics like poverty, tax reform, labor market/immigration, economic development, energy, healthcare, climate and environment, and inspections and administrative enforcement. The correspondence was registered under IS 916-2024-2025. Hence, today, this meeting. I would first like to give the floor to the requester of this meeting to elucidate her request if needed. MP Wescot-Williams, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and a good morning to all once again. Mr. Chairman, thank you for introducing my request, and as you correctly pointed out, this is a request from the 22nd of April of this year. So I want us in talking about this topic to keep that into consideration. Because, Mr. Chairman, when I wrote the request, I stated as follows. In April of this year, I am writing to share my observations regarding the latest implementation agenda and report for the country package of St. Martin. At that time, I referred to number 3 of 2024. And I mentioned this has been presented in its new format. I continued, while I appreciate the visual appeal of this format, I find it lacks the transparency needed to convey a clear understanding of the current status of various project plans, along with their financial implications. And I continued, in light of this, I kindly request that this committee invite the individual ministers or a designated civil servant to provide a detailed status update on the respective themes of the country package. This approach, I continued, would greatly enhance the understanding of each project's progression and the challenges being faced. I continue, furthermore, I suggest that these position statements be submitted to the committee, this committee, ahead of the scheduled meeting. This would ensure that all members of Parliament can come prepared to engage in informed discussions. And as you rightfully pointed out, Mr. Chairman, I also indicated what are the themes that I believe should be addressed. And for the sake of the Prime Minister and his staff and the representatives of the TWO, I wish to highlight those, and these tie in to the governing program 2024-2028. 1, poverty. 2, tax reform. 3, labor market and immigration. 4, sustainable economic development. 5, alternative energy. 6, universal health care. 7, climate and environment. 8, inspections and administrative enforcement. Mr. Chairman, I would ask through you that the Prime Minister and his support staff direct the discussions into those avenues. Because as I mentioned, I am quite aware, so please, it does not need to be pointed out again, I am quite aware of all updates, all reports that have been done in the context of the TWO. So please don't point it out. It doesn't need to be pointed out to me in any case, but I really would like us to zoom in on the matters that this government has indicated are important. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, on this topic, in our recent discussion with the State Secretary of Kingdom Affairs, it was pointed out, and my question is, what was pointed out was that the government of St. Martin, in the context of the country package, and everyone knows my stance on the starting point of the country package. However, given where we are, the State Secretary pointed out, and I quote, the government of St. Martin needs to establish some clear priorities in the context of the country package themes. I would like to know what are those priorities for the government today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Wescot-Williams. I would now like to give the floor to the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Luc Mercelina, for his opening remarks presentation on this agenda point. Prime Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of Parliament, the ones following on social media, those in the Tribune, my support staff, good morning. I appear before you today to provide an update on the status and progress of the country reform package and on government's ongoing efforts related to its implementation. Accompanying me this morning are members of the team responsible for the coordination and execution of the country package. Representing the government of St. Martin are, on my left side hand here, Mr. Hensley Plantain, Secretary General of the Ministry of General Affairs. Mrs. Angelique Gums, on my right side hand here, being the Manager of the Department of the Interior and Kingdom Relations. We have also on my left side hand here, Mrs. Ursula Salomon, Policy Worker at the Department of the Interior and Kingdom Relations. And also forming part of the team is next to Mrs. Angelique Gums, we have Ms. Leona Romeo. She is the liaison for St. Martin within the Temporary Work Organization, the TWO. And next to Mrs. Leona Romeo, we have Mrs. Dami Butte, that is an advisor, London countries within the TWO. Together, this team exemplifies the collaborative structure through which St. Martin continues to implement and advance the reform measures under the country packages. Mr. Chair, allow me to begin by providing Parliament with a brief history of the origins of the country package, what it represents and what prompted these reforms. We all remember the devastation and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2019, 2020, and 2021, while its direct effects were mainly in the field of public health. The indirect consequences were deeply felt across the economic, financial, and social sector of St. Martin. At that time, projections showed that St. Martin's debt ratio would reach unsustainable levels, and with the pandemic still ongoing, the strain on our national economy was expected to persist for some time. We must also remember St. Martin was devastated by Hurricane Irma and also Hurricane Maria in 2017, and was at that time still a strong struggle that moved forward with the pandemic of the COVID-19. The COVID-19 amplified and actually magnified our vulnerabilities and risks. At this time, all the Caribbean partners of the Dutch Kingdom came to the realization that financial assistance from the Netherlands was essential to avoid severe financial consequences. In discussion with the government of the Netherlands, it was agreed that this support would be accompanied by a package of reform measures, what were now referred to as the country packages. The country package consists of structural reforms aimed at ensuring resilience, sustainability, and long-term stability. These reforms are not ad hoc initiatives or a list of short-term projects. They are institutional and regulatory measures designed to modernize government, improve the efficiency of public sector, stimulate economic growth, and strengthen our institutions. They include new frameworks, improved processes, and organizational reforms intended to promote good governance, financial stability, and socio-economic development. Mr. Chair, I want to emphasize that these structural reforms are vital to the continued development and modernization of our country. They are not merely administrative exercises, they are strategic interventions to strengthen our institutions, improve public sector efficiency, and create a sustainable foundation for good governance and economic resilience. Through the implementation of the country packages, St. Martin is taking deliberate steps to ensure that government operations are effective, transparent, and accountable, while laying the groundwork for long-term self-reliance and sustainability. Allow me to highlight one concrete example of progress within the framework of the country reform package. Under the thematic area of public sector effectiveness, the Ministry of General Affairs has undertaken the project entitled Revamping the IT Department. This initiative represents a critical step towards strengthening our public administration and enhancing operational governance. This project has resulted in the recruitment of permanent staff within the IT department, the implementation of proper incident management and service request systems, the development of a comprehensive software licensing strategy, and the digitalization of internal government operations to streamline administrative processes. Through this initiative, government is taking measurable steps towards building a modern, efficient, and service-oriented public administration. It is also important to distinguish the country packages from the trust fund, which is fundamentally different. While the trust fund focuses primarily on post-disaster recovery and reconstruction, the country reform package is centered on institutional and systematic strengthening. The reforms under this framework target several key outcome areas, including one, for example, the establishment of sustainable social and security systems, the improvement of financial governance and healthcare systems, the enhancement of public sector efficiency through digitalization and capacity building initiatives. Collectively, these measures are designed to modernize governance, promote socio-economic resilience, and ensure that government functions as a robust and reliable institution serving the people of this country. Mr. Chair, members of Parliament, we now find ourselves at a critical juncture in the implementation of the country reform package. The current program is scheduled to conclude in April 2027, and as such, time is of the essence. As Parliament is aware, the agreements made provide for an evaluation of the collaboration, implementation, and effectiveness of the country package. The evaluation committee, which includes a representative of St. Martin, met last week with the Council of Ministers and other stakeholders, including Parliament. Together, we will determine the next phase of action, ensuring that the reform trajectory continues seamlessly beyond the scheduled end date. As mentioned, these discussions will be guided by an evaluation of the country package, which will inform future policy decisions and the framework for continued collaboration and implementation. In conclusion, the country reform package represents a national commitment to institutional strengthening and sustainable governance. It is a collective endeavor that demands cooperation across ministries, departments, and external partners. The progress achieved thus far reflects St. Martin's capacity and resolve to advance meaningful reform in the interest of good governance and the well-being of our people. Mr. Chair, with this introduction, I would like to ask you your permission to give the floor to Ms. Angelique Gums, Department Head of the Department of Interior and Kingdom Relations of my ministry, to give a presentation. BAC serves as a secretariat, actually, of the S.A. platform for the implementation of the projects in the country packages and acts as the first contact of the TWO for government. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and looking forward to the content of this meeting.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. I now give the floor to Ms. Gums. Ms. Gums, you have the floor.
Good morning. Good morning to the members of Parliament. Good morning, Mr. Chair. As mentioned by the Prime Minister, Minister of General Affairs, I will delve further into the country package. I will start with the legal basis of the country package and then go over into the themes of the country package as well as the objective of the country package. Furthermore, I will also discuss how it works, how we implement, what is ongoing with regards to the implementation of the country package measures. I will also go over into the evaluation of the country package that was mentioned by the Prime Minister and the progress on the measures, and end with a financial overview. The country package is governed by means of arrangement between the Netherlands, Aruba, Curaçao, and Sint Maarten on structural reforms. We know it better as the onderlinge regeling. The arrangement outlines, amongst other things, the objectives, the manner in which it is to be executed, such as through plans of approach, an implementation agenda, and a progress report. The arrangement also outlines the time frame of the agreement, along with expiration and an evaluation. Supplementary to this arrangement is the Mutual Arrangement for Cooperation on Reforms, better known as Landspakket. The country package defines the needs of the country. As such, every country has its own country package. Sint Maarten has its own country package, Aruba has its own country package, and so does Curaçao. Key themes in the country package of Sint Maarten: financial management. The financial management teams relates to the financial management and administration of government. The second theme in the country package is cost and effectiveness in the public sector. This pertains to the public wage bill. Taxation, third theme in the country reform package, is of course in the area of compliance, among others, and the tax system. The theme economy is focused on enhancing the resilience of the economy. The theme healthcare is about, amongst others, creation of a robust social security system. And education focuses on addressing aspects between education and the labor market, amongst others. The last theme is reinforcing the rule of law, which pertains to strengthening the rule of law. We will get into these themes later on in this presentation. As mentioned by the Prime Minister, the country package focuses on structural reform. Ultimately, the country package is not that of recovery and reconstruction. The nature of the country package is structural reform in the form of a pool of measures that provides a foundation for Sint Maarten to continue to build on. The country reform package focuses on economic and financial sustainability and enhanced technical cooperation. How it works. Projects are proposed through plans of approach. The plans of approach provides an outline of what will be done, what objectives will be achieved, what outputs and outcomes, as well as timeline for a specific project. Significant in the plans of approach are the financial paragraphs. The financial paragraph reflects the funding required for that specific project. Note that these funds are not loans. These funds are grants from the Netherlands. We will have a financial overview provided towards the end of this presentation. The internal implementation structure that is in place for the country package is the SG platform. along with the Department of the Interior and Kingdom Relations, better known as BAC, as the Secretariat and point of coordination. In developing this implementation structure along with the Secretary General, the intention here was to have a continuous structural high-level coordination of the country reform measures. This also to ensure that it aligns with other ongoing projects throughout government. This management has as tool implementation agendas. The implementation agendas provide overview of the various measures in the package and the specific actions to be taken and the time frame in which the actions must be completed. This is significant as the projects have been determined by the organization along with the actions and the timeline, all determined by the organization. It's not done in isolation. It's done through a collaborative effort with the temporary work organization, which is basically known as the TBO. The role of the TBO is that of guidance, technical support, focal point, processing of requests from ministries, whether it's a financial request or, for example, a request for technical assistance. Representatives of the TBO are here today to my right. Once the actions and timeframes have been agreed upon, it is then reflected in the implementation agenda. The implementation agenda is also always approved by the Council of Ministers. Initially, it was done on a quarterly basis. Now it is being done every 6 months. Progress reports are always made to ensure that all remains on track and we are in accordance with the timelines that we set for ourselves. Ministries are responsible for execution. The SGs of the respective ministries are responsible for the integral management of the measures. They remain up to date on developments surrounding the implementation. SGs are also responsible to inform, update, and advise their respective minister on measures that pertain to their ministries. The actions as laid out in the implementation agenda are also determined by the ministries. Every ministry has project teams that are busy with the implementation of the measures. The Prime Minister mentioned an evaluation. Recently, the evaluation committee was on island, holding stakeholder sessions with several various stakeholders that have been involved with the country reform package. Prior to that, a technical working group has been working on a terms of reference to be developed for the evaluation. That terms of reference is now complete, and an independent agency has been acquired to basically execute an objective evaluation of the country package. The timeline for this evaluation is April 2026. The timeline for the country package is April 2027. Of course, the evaluation will also inform on the status of the country reform package measures, but also on the future and how we can proceed. The evaluation committee consists of Mr. Franklin Richards on behalf of St. Martin, an independent chair selected by all 4 countries, Ms. Maria van der Sluis-Plans, representative of Curaçao, Mr. Delanoy, representative of Aruba, Mr. Bermudez, and the representative of Kees Slager, of the Netherlands, Kees Slager. Towards the end of April, the evaluation committee agency that has been acquired will be on the ground on island doing their research. So progress of the measures. Financial management, we are currently in the phase of implementing policy-based budgeting and centralized receipt of all invoices. For healthcare, patient information systems have been implemented. Huisartsenpraktijksysteem. For cost and effectiveness, public sector, we have reviewed and reorganized processes within the IT department, strengthened the IT department with additional staff through the country reform package, as well as digitalized internal processes. Taxation, file cleanup and elimination of backlogs at the tax administration, and reinforcing the rule of law, ASECUDA. ASECUDA is basically digital system for customs. We will get back into this a little further. That will be purchased for use. The funds have been transferred and purchase will go over once the amendment, the budget amendment, has been passed. Now note that this is not limited. It's quite extensive, so we have picked out basically priorities here for the government of St. Martin. The second set of priorities is economic development project, legislative reforms. The economic development project focuses on legislative reforms, modernization and enhancement of business framework, reduction of administrative bottlenecks and strengthening the overall investment climate to support entrepreneurship and sustainable economic growth. The project officially commenced in 2024 with the legislative reform currently under review. It includes a review of the economic license legislation, stakeholder consultations, which are now to be started to evaluate the social economic impacts, identification of legislative gaps and opportunities for improvements. Another significant project is improving St. Martin's business climate, and the activities within this E6 is the digitalization and centralization of the licensing procedures in government. All are ongoing at the moment. The MSME education project. This program is aimed at strengthening entrepreneurship and capacity building for micro, small, and medium enterprises. The St. Martin Entrepreneurship Development Center will implement this program for a period of 3 years and has already been contracted. And the program will involve sectorial consultations, workshops for small and medium enterprises, sector development projects, and offer diploma-level education based on sector needs. The Future of Finance project, very large project with key pillars for digital financial transformation, public financial management reform, such as upgrading budgeting processes, accounting and auditing systems, implementing the e-procurement and transparent reporting systems, financial inclusion and education, sustainable finance, and of course, institutional strengthening. This is one of the largest projects and is currently under implementation. As mentioned previously, we are now at the stage of policy-based budgeting, not limited. We have introduced now an integrated financial systems, digitalized. The total cost for this project is 2.3 million euros. I continue with the priorities. The SMGA business case. This is the gambling sector, H2. This project will have significant impact for St. Martin, as research has now been concluded on gambling addiction. This was finalized in June 2025. The quick scan of online gambling has now also been completed, finalized as of August 2025. Currently, feasibility study is ongoing for the establishment of a gambling authority. Simultaneously, legislation is also being written for the gambling authority. So these are happening together. You see here the amounts basically that has been spent for these actions within H12. Just to give a financial overview, in 2024, a total of 5.4 million euros have been spent, with 2.3 basically on the future of finance project, renewal IT department and technical assistance, which was theme B, 700,000, transformation tax department, 600,000, agri loans and review of legislation for employment agencies, 700,000 euros. And then we get into the further financials of the country reform package. Future finance, I've already mentioned. Mental health, 447,296 euros. General health insurance, social security, public health registrar, and Asikuda. Included NCDs is non-communicable diseases, 570,000. This includes basically awareness for non-communicable diseases, labor market and social security, 989,277. Gronduitgifte en grondprijsbeleidsprojects manager included, 52,000. Management information system education, 74,880. Curriculum guide for early childhood development, 261,818 euros. E-VSA, inspectie VSA, 731,200 euros. ICT, 700,000. Agri-research, 326,400. Agri-loans, 282,162. Legal support for TEAT, Gilders, 900,000. And with that, I end the financial overview for the country package and reiterate, these are not loans. These are grants to the government of St. Maarten for the implementation of these projects. And I also end now with the opportunity for members of parliament to pose any questions related to the presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Gums, for the presentation. Honorable Prime Minister, you have the floor.
Yes, first of all, I would like to thank the team in preparation for today and also Mrs. Angelique Gums. Secondly, I just want for clarity sake that we will send the presentation to the honorable members of parliament. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable PM. To which member of parliament can I extend the floor? Yeah. I see MP Wescot-Williams. MP Wescot-Williams, you have the floor.
Thank you so much once again, Mr. Chairman, and I thank the Prime Minister for his introduction and presentation, and to Ms. Gomes, thank you for that elaborate outline. Mr. Chairman, let me firstly commend the fact that finally we get some financial insight into this package. And as everyone indicated, through you, Mr. Chairman, yes, indeed, St. Maarten has its, every country, the 3 Caribbean countries have their own country package. However, we must also understand how St. Maarten got on the trajectory of the country package, because hopefully it will frame my, not really concern, but my constant scrutiny of the country package. And the fact is, Mr. Chairman, the facts are, and through you, Prime Minister, to the Prime Minister, if I have it wrong, please correct me. The matter as outlined in terms of the COVID and the debt situation and the potential for even growing debts for the countries, totally agree. However, the draft general country package was prepared. Aruba and Curacao agreed. At the last moment, in December of 2020, St. Martin got on board and accepted under its name the items that were already accepted in the country packages of Curacao and Aruba. That's why we see some identical items in all of these country packages. And when I say it was at the last moment, it was like, this is your final chance, St. Martin. We're talking December 2020 to get on board. Mr. Chairman, I want to repeat, if I am wrong, I stand to be corrected. We know how the whole matter, the very acrimonious matter of the proposal by the Dutch government to have this matter regulated by so-called consensus law. Eventually, we got over to a onderlinge regeling, a mutual agreement. Why is parliamentary oversight of a mutual agreement so important? Because it is not established as part of our lineup of legislation in terms of the hierarchy of oversight. So let us understand that clearly. I want to commend the government and the TWO for the work that they have done in this respect, notwithstanding the late starting point for St. Martin, okay? So, Mr. Chairman, let me get those matters straight. And then I would want to ask if, through you, Mr. Chairman, the Prime Minister can, and of course I understand that every ministry has its responsibility for the themes falling under the respective ministry. And so I want to ask how able, and when I say able, I don't mean it in terms of them being capable. I am talking able, like having the time to dedicate their time to this country package from the SG platform. So how able is the SG platform, so our SGs, to really keep this thing on a right and good trajectory? Because I know for a fact, I'm not asking this, that our SGs are supposed to be potent all over, you know, advising their ministry, you name it. So I want to know how able, not capable, how able are they to keep track or to keep this matter on track as far as the government part is concerned? Okay, so that's one question. That's my second question. Next to asking if the financial breakdown that we got could be tied to the specific elements of the theme. Mr. Chairman, let me make it clear what I'm at least trying to ask. I have somewhat of an issue when matters like gambling addiction, and it was highlighted, I'll come back to it, but also corporate governance and some other matters that I compare with this government's program. I ask myself, why are we not, tax reform, sorry to have forgotten that, why are we not further in the process as outlined at the beginning of the country package? Why? And then as a sub-question to that, are the reports on gambling addiction, are they available to the Parliament, the final oversight body of the government and the country package? So can we, very specifically, can we get those reports? There seem to have been, through you, Ms. Gomes indicated a study and also a quick scan. Two matters. So can we receive those? Mr. Chairman, the matter of gambling addiction on St. Martin is not something, from my perspective as Parliament, is not something of one or two MPs or one or two factions. I have heard that issue across party lines in Parliament. So let that be clear. So that the matter of gambling and why are we not further? You know, why are we not further? And I say this because I understand the evaluation. The evaluation will come a year before the finalization. Why can't we do some of that work as St. Martin ahead of time? Why can't we do some of that? Because then a lot is going to be pushed into a year period, and then we're gonna have to narrow down. We're gonna have to prioritize priorities. So Mr. Chairman, I'm very, and the corporate governance matter, the same thing. Why are we not further where that matter is concerned? Mr. Chairman, just to make it clear, so I'm asking for a further breakdown of the financial overview, please. Okay. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. I thought one of my colleagues were asking my attention. Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, yes, I am happy. I am happy for the concrete examples, and I have kind of concluded that the most progress is made in the area of ICT/IT, and then maybe financial. The financial householding, so to speak. And could I maybe receive, Mr. Chairman, if it was even able to be given, like a percentage of, like, let's say the country package for St. Martin has reached a what percentage of implementation. So what would that general global number be? Okay, so phrasing it like this might make it a little clearer. How far are we percentage-wise in meeting the original objectives of the country package? That's the crux of my question. And then I just need to get clarified that the consultation to which the Prime Minister and Ms. Gomes referred, Mr. Chairman, through you, is that's the one where the evaluation committee met with because Parliament was mentioned as being one of the consulted bodies. That is the evaluation committee consultation, or was there another consultation that included Parliament on the country package? So, Mr. Chairman, I would really like to get a better view. Of course, like everyone else, I am thankful for the work that has been done in order to trigger some finances, some funding for projects which we would not have been able to easily fund otherwise, because we know our budgetary limitations. However, I would really like to see some concrete results and actually in the work, so not in the make, but in the work of these items, and I would really like to see that tied to this government's priorities as outlined in its program. Mr. Chairman, thank you. Look forward to the answers and the further discussions on this topic.
Thank you, MP Wescot-Williams. I look around if there's any other MP. I do not see the need. I would like to adjourn for... Oh, I see MP Veronica Janssen-Webster would like the floor. MP Janssen-Webster, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry for reacting late. I said good morning already. I had a question similar to what MP Wescot-Williams had about asking for documents, not only the documents that MP Wescot-Williams asked for, but all the documents from the country package. Because when it was presented just now, I saw that there was a lot of funds given out for preparation of documents, agri-research, and many more, because I can't read my handwriting right now. But there were many more that were given out, and they are documents that were made. If we could get those, please, in Parliament as well. So all of the documents, because those are what I would like to see. I remember while we were preparing, for instance, the tourism master plan, we didn't want it to be a shelf document. So what we did was we added an execution part in the back of it. Do these documents have an execution part, and will other funds allotted for the execution? Is that there already? How are we going to carry on with these documents to get to the actual meat of the matter, the actual execution? Then on Asikuda, I'm happy to hear that we're going to go over to purchasing Asikuda. I've been championing that for a while. I wanted to know, are we going to buy that this year with this budget, 2025? There was mention about evaluation, April 2026 and April 2027 for country package, April 2027. But can you repeat for me, what is the evaluation, April 2026? What's that one for? And additionally, I'm not sure, maybe this was not in the scope of today's meeting, but we know that the Dutch have indicated that they are making funds available for agriculture in 2 other areas for St. Martin, Curacao, Aruba, and I was wondering if or which organization is handling that, and how people in the community, for instance in agriculture, can make use of those funds, where they would have to register, how that will go. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Veronica Jansen-Webster. I now give the floor to MP Wescot-Williams. MP Wescot-Williams, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it's on a slightly different note, and with your indulgence, I look through you to the Prime Minister. Seemingly, there is an action taking place by the unions right now. And I can't say it directly to the Prime Minister, so I'm looking at you. And I'm just wondering, is it something the Prime Minister needs to be aware of, or is it something for which his presence is required? Mr. Chairman, I'm sure we are in a committee meeting, so I think the Prime Minister can respond to it, because I'm honestly wondering whether his presence is required while we're here talking about about country package, So if we could just allow the Prime Minister, because the question is out there, where are other members of Parliament? Other members of Parliament are here in this meeting with the Prime Minister. You see what I'm saying, Mr. Chair? I really want to know, is it something that we say, Prime Minister, you need to go? I honestly don't know. I'm asking if that is something that requires the immediate attention of the Prime Minister. That's my question.
Yes,
whatever action is taking place right now, is it something that requires the immediate attention of the Prime Minister? And then, if that is the case, I would suggest that we kind of adjourn a little, just let the Prime Minister determine, because I don't want it to seem as if the Prime Minister is in here talking away about the country package and we have some burning issues outside. I just want to.
Yes, thank you, MP Wescot-Williams. I'll adjourn this meeting for 2 minutes, just so that the Honorable Prime Minister can review and see what's happening.
Thank you.
And then we can see where we go from there. So meeting adjourned, 2 minutes. Let me see if my math's good. 11 past 11. Good morning and welcome back to this committee meeting. In light of the events, I will give the floor to the Honorable Prime Minister to allow him the opportunity to address the situation. Prime Minister, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I'm a little surprised with this statement just made with a member of parliament. There are correspondences going on between the union representing the fire department and government, in this case the Prime Minister. We have had a letter that was sent the 24th of October, and after that they reacted and they requested a reaction 48 hours ago, and it had to be between after 48 hours, in 48 hours. And that letter was sent in the 48 hours, and the letter was sent yesterday to the union representing the firework departments. For clarity's sake, all details that are requested from the side of the fire department, the government is in agreement with all the requests, and this is already stated and informed to the fire department in a letter of the 24th of October, and it's repeated in my correspondence of the 6th of November. So there is nothing that the fire department is demanding that the government is not actually adhering to and giving in to their recommendations. So there is no reason at this particular moment for a go slow. And there are correspondence going on. There are very respectful correspondence between government and the union representing the fire departments. This is where we are now, and I'm just waiting. I sent a letter yesterday, again reiterating and repeating that we are in agreement with all the requests of the fire department. So from my side, there is no base and no reason for a continuation of their go-slow action. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, for addressing the concerns and clarifying where we are at or where government's at. I will look around now to see, as we will continue with this committee meeting, I will look around to see if there's any other MPs that wish to have the floor. I do not see a need at this time. What I'll do, I'll see with the Prime Minister if to see how much time is needed. Seeing that, a few minutes. Okay, we'll adjourn for 4 minutes. So 20 past 11. Meeting adjourned. Good morning and welcome back to our committee meeting. I now, after a brief adjournment, I now give the floor back to the Honorable Prime Minister, which will indicate the next steps forward.
Yeah.
Honorable Prime Minister, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, thank you for this opportunity. Considering the questions, there are quite some technical, detailistic answers that has to be given. Also some documents requested from, for example, MP Veronica Janssen-Webster. My proposal is for me to send in writing all the answers that has been posed this morning on the floor of Parliament, including also in attachment all the documents and reports that has been requested. And my suggestion is, seeing the complexity, especially because Mrs. MP Veronica Webster would like all the documents, it's a huge amount of documents. I propose that we have them in by Parliament on the latest in 2 weeks from now, on the 21st of November, 2025. So if you as chair can approve and agree with that, we will make sure that we have all answers given in writing, inclusive the supporting documents requested. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. I now look to the floor, and I do not see any MPs with any objections, so hereby we approve the suggestion. And I would like to thank the Honorable Prime Minister and the support staff for their presence here today and for providing the necessary information to the members of this Committee of Parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this meeting. I thank you all for your participation, and I hereby close this committee meeting. Meeting closed.